And Ryan, another guy looking to get back to victory lane. Jimmy Johnson leads. Started outside the front row. Pole sitter J.J. Yaley is dropped back to the 10th position. There's Kyle Busch. And it's not just his fans and Hendrick Motorsports fans that are watching him, as Wally and Kyle have talked about. Other car owners are watching him as well now.
Yeah, but you know, it's funny when you get to this point. Everybody knows that he's out there looking for a job. Other car owners already know what he's doing. You know what I mean? So he's not really auditioning. What he's trying to do is say, you guys were maybe a little bit off kilter for letting me go.
Yeah, you made a mistake.
You made a mistake. He's trying to prove one team wrong, not trying to impress a lot of other teams sometimes.
Running with his teammate. Let's get more from Matt.
Bailey almost went to victory lane in the Craftsman Truck Series race on Saturday, narrowly missing that victory, but he has a lot of motivation. But this team knows they have been there this year. They already have a win at Bristol. 7 top 10 finishes, but it's those 5 finishes of 30th or worse. As Jimmy Johnson is losing the lead to Martin Truex, they know they need to improve that to have a shot at that championship.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Martin Truex. Martin Truex Jr., the race leader.
Yeah, go ahead. He was making a lot of time up. He's about 3 or 4 tenths of a second faster than Jimmy Johnson. He's running a little bit higher line, or was, than Jimmy Johnson. So, and a lot of these guys in practice were really using that high line where we used to not see that. You start at the bottom, you wind up at the top. A lot of cars were trying to tune the car into the top.
Martin Truex Jr. is in the spotlight. He's in the sunshine at Michigan. He's out front. You're watching NASCAR live on TNT. We're under green at Michigan. We continue under green, but trouble for Ryan Newman. Had a left rear tire go down. Marty.
Yeah, Bill, here he is on pit road, and now they're trying to get the carcass of the old left rear out, which is wrapped up inside the car. Now, we have not had tire problems to speak of here this weekend in Michigan so far. Ryan was extremely loose. That will be a little hard on the left rear tire as well as the right rear tire, and they're having to get a Sawzall and cut that tire carcass out where it's wrapped up in the chassis components in the left rear. Long, lengthy stop for Ryan Newman. That will likely take him out of contention to win this race.
5 top 10s in the last 6 races, but 59 races since Ryan Newman last went to victory lane. There's your race leader, Martin Truex Jr. Jimmy Johnson runs second. Then it's Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin in the 5th position.
You know, looking at Ryan Newman there with that flat tire, we didn't used to see that with bias ply tires. Bias ply tires would come apart. These things, as they come apart, they're radials. It's just like the radials that you see all up and down the interstate. The gators, as they call them, laying in the middle. And what they do, as they come off, they go inboard because you're running at such speed, and they wrap around the rear end housing. So these guys have to cut that off. And when you say a Sawzall to cut a tire off, you're cutting through that radial tire. You got to whack that thing off. You can't send your guy back out there. And it does brake damage. It does fan damage. It can do a lot of suspension damage if it's a front tire. And that's what takes so long now. Used to, that would just be stop, change tires, let's go. Now it's stop, let's get the Sawzall and get this thing cut off.
J.J. Yaley in the 18 car started on the pole.
He's back 17th spot right now and losing more position. So obviously J.J.'s got his hands full with that chassis right now. There's Matt Kenseth in the 17 taking a look underneath.
It's Kevin Harvick in the 29 and Michael Waltrip just in front of them.
And give a little shout out to Michael Waltrip there. He's hanging tough in the top 15 or 16 right along in there. And to have had the year that he's had, it's really, really good to see him in that Napa car run.
Marty, following up on the 12.
Yeah, guys, Ryan Newman left pit road, wanted to know what the body damage was, but look at this carcass that was wrapped up inside the chassis of the cars. I dropped my radio around it, and this was all wrapped up inside the suspension of the race car. It's why it took them so long on pit road. They had to unravel it. You see where they had to cut through it to get it out of the pieces of the spring, shocks, things like that, because it was all wrapped up inside there. Cost Ryan Newman a lot of time here on the racetrack.
It's amazing he didn't knock the spring out of it. Or a shock or something like that.
It is amazing because you got to imagine these tires weigh 70 pounds when inflated, so there's a huge hunk of steel and rubber flopping around in there. Even though it looked like he was running slow, he's still running 90 or 100 miles an hour coming down the backstretch on a flat tire.
That's a nice pack back there. They're all chasing Martin Truex Jr. He's made his way to the front looking for his second Nextel Cup Series win. You're watching NASCAR from Michigan on TNT. Martin Truex Jr. has moved from 18th to 11th in points in the last 3 races. Today, he has moved to the front of the field. He's the race leader as we complete 22 laps here at Michigan. Time for our AT&T Race Talk question, and it's about his teammate. What impact will Jr.'s move to Hendrick have on his career? Text the word race to 191 on your AT&T wireless phone and vote. And we'll have the results later on in tonight's newscast. On board with Jr., there's Truex. Jimmy Johnson runs second. Then it's Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch up to 5th. Kyle Busch runs 6th. All right, let's get our first update from Larry McReynolds this afternoon, sir.
Well, Bill, I'm down here at our TNT Test Ford Fusion, our test car, and what Mike Nelson and that 12 group had to do when that car's tire started coming apart, it wrapped all around the rear end housing here, wrapped up in the springs. So what they had to do, they had to take this Sawzall and get in there and start cutting on that. They had to start cutting it to get it out, because what you have to remember, guys, it's not just rubber. It's a steel belted radial tire, so that was the real challenge. Not only just have to cut the rubber, but cut the steel belts away. That's why it took so long to get all of that out of there before they could put the new tire on.
Amazing it didn't hit that brake line, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things up in there that it could have done damage. You know, you've got the oil tank, you've got oil lines, so they were very fortunate. That was the only problem, that it wrapped all around the rear end housing.
So Ryan Newman currently scored in the 43rd position, 3 laps down. Greg Biffle in the 16, Jr. in the 8. This is back for 11th. Biffle had it. Earnhardt's got it.
You see the momentum that these guys have by running higher, how much momentum they have to shoot them down the straightaway. And right now, the way a lot of these guys are going, they're just looking for fresh pavement. You see Junior all the way. That looks like Darlington. He's running so close to the wall. It looks like Darlington running through 1 and 2 down there. And I think I've seen him run higher this week up here for the last couple of days because it's been hotter. The track conditions have been hotter. It's a different tire. There's a lot of different things than they've ever run before, and that's the least used asphalt up there. Everybody in the open wheel cars and the trucks wanted to run around the bottom. These guys are at the top.
Now at Michigan, you see a lot of interesting things develop as far as drivers are concerned. Here's another solid start for Brian Vickers.
Yeah, and once this Red Bull team gets in the show, especially this car with Brian Vickers, they run good. You know, but because they missed some races and they had that hole that they have to dig themselves out of, being guaranteed a spot to start these races, it's tough qualifying. But when Brian's in the race, he runs great.
Yeah, they are, we've said it before, they are leading the charge for Toyota. I don't care what anybody says. They are consistently, when they make the races, a top 10 or 15 car. And just like watching qualifying the other day and watching Brian in practice, you know, and they talked, you see him give a wave there to the 99 as he goes around. They've talked a little bit about our engine package is getting better. We're understanding our engine package more. They don't talk about the car a lot. They talk about their engine package. And I think Brian's kind of figured that out, because if we think back to Charlotte and some of the other racetracks, he lets the car just roll free through the middle and treats the engine as a momentum type thing, not as a torque deal to build it back up off the bottom.
And that being the case, he may be in trouble in New Hampshire and a couple of these places.
Exactly. In Martinsville and New Hampshire, a place where you got to grunt and get up off the bottom of the racetrack and dig, you're going to be in trouble with an engine like that that's a little soft on the torque side. But an engine that'll get up and just keep that RPM, more like a late model stock car that you see at your local Saturday night NASCAR track. I think when you look at things like that, Brian has that experience, and he can keep this car wound up.
More on Brian Vickers from Lindsay Zarniak.
Thank you, Bill. And I wanted to add on what you and Kyle were talking about, because Kyle, you're exactly right. He said it is the engine that's making a big difference, and he did finish 5th when he was at Charlotte. But I talked to his spotter, who is David Green, who said that he has seen a ton of difference in Brian, and Brian says his confidence has been at a level where he feels like he's communicating well, and they've got a really, really fast race car. As far as the car that you see right next to him, it's the 99 of Carl Edwards. And man, he shot out of a cannon, because like we said, Edwards started 12th. He's now moved up. And when I talked to him about making his 100th career start, he said, you don't even understand. 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't even think I could ever have a career in the Nextel Cup.
Carl made his debut here in a has had a very successful career. Been a while since he's been to victory lane. That one car of Martin Truex Jr. is number 1 on the side and number 1 on the track. He leads Johnson, Gordon, Hamlin, and Kurt Busch at Michigan. 32 laps complete in the Citizens Bank 400. And Martin Truex Jr. is the race leader. Jimmy Johnson runs second. Jeff Gordon runs third. And we are approaching pit stops. On the Move is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. Time for our Principal Financial Group On the Move drivers. You see Earnhardt Jr. going forward. Jamie McMurray up 9 spots. Tony Stewart started in the 41st position and has currently scored 33rd.
Yeah, and he might get lapped here, Bill, if this thing stays green much longer.
Joe Nemechek headed for pit road. Lindsay, you watching this one?
I am watching. It looks like right now they're on the right side changing tires. They're going to give Joe 4 and fuel. Joe has been very, very happy with this car, obviously, because they had a great starting position. He hopes he can keep it up for a good Father's Day. Bill?
Thanks, Lindsay. We have an outside wall here on pit road. What's this one like when these guys start coming in?
This is a great pit road. This is one of the best pit roads we run. I don't care if you've got an outside wall. There's tons and tons of room to get in and out of your pits to get back in line. You know, we probably saw something there with the 13 car that we may not see for the rest of the day. Just like Lindsay said, he's happy with his car. He had a great start. They didn't make any chassis adjustments. No wedge, no anything. We see these cars going forward or going back and doing stuff. I thought we'd see a lot of chassis adjustments as hot as the day is, but we didn't see anything. There may have been a tire pressure adjustment.
How about these two guys running together? Dale Earnhardt Jr. following Kyle Busch.
But you saw Kyle Busch's hand come out the window, which means I'm going down pit road. So he's going to give Junior the outside, and I'm betting Kyle Busch comes down pit road. And that's just good communication. You know, you want to let the guy in front of you know when you barrel off into the corner. So obviously there's not a lot of hard feelings there. Kyle would have let him follow him off in the corner and brake checked him and then said get down pit road best way you can.
Gives up the 9th position, comes to pit road. Tony Stewart's also on pit road right now. Matt?
Chassis adjustment by Shaggy Larson, the catch can man for Tony Stewart. His car extremely on the tight side. He's away. Meanwhile, the 5 team, as their car hits pit road, he said on a scale of 1 to 10 that he was tight at about a 5, but he had a 4-wheel drift on exit. Significant air pressure adjustment, trying to get this 5 a little bit better. He was running in the 9th position before his stop.
J.J. Yaley on pit road. Carl Edwards is on pit road. Martin Truex Jr. is making his way down pit road. Marty Snyder.
Well, Kurt Busch just left pit road. He said his car was tight on entry, and it never really got better the longer they ran. So what they did, they put a round in the right rear. Ralph?
Well, Martin Truex is very happy with his car. They're just going to make a slight air pressure adjustment. They said we led 1 lap. We got 5 points for that. Let's lead the most and get the rest of the points there as well.
So you see the traffic on pit road. Jeff Gordon on pit road right now at the bottom of your screen. Truex creeping down pit road. Pit road speed limit 55 miles per hour. Jimmy Johnson's been on pit road. Marty?
Jeff Gordon leaving pit road, Bill. A little bit tight at the end of that. He said especially in turns 1 and 2, half round of wedge in the right rear for Gordon, trying to loosen up that 24 just a little bit. Weber.
Matt?
Bill, Kevin Harvick, Daytona 500 winner. Oh, close call with his teammate, as well as a 96 of Tony Rain. All 3 RCR cars on pit road. All 3, Bill, complaining of the same thing. Tight in the center and extremely free on exit. Big adjustments for all.
They work on Denny Hamlin. Ralph?
Very happy with the number 11 of Denny Hamlin. The FedEx crew goes to work on it. No changes here, Bill.
Hamlin leaves his pit stall. There's Junior. Service on his car completed.
Ralph? They're very happy with Junior's car as well. He's been pretty quiet with it. They're just watching the lap times, Bill. Those tires falling off a little bit. Very hard tire here today.
Junior off of pit road.
And I'm not sure that the tires got anything to do with this today. When this racetrack is this hot, I don't care if you had Martinsville tires here. A soft tire, a soft comment, you'd have trouble hooking it up. These guys are just struggling. You know, we've had tire issues maybe in the past, but I don't think that's an issue here today. I just think it's getting your car down in the racetrack and getting it hooked up.
Okay, now let's go back and take a look at Denny Hamlin coming onto pit road and heading for his pit stall. There's Hamlin in the 11 car, FedEx Chevy.
Whoa!
It's Juan Pablo Montoya.
Actually got some help getting in his pit stall.